Okay, so we will start the webinar now. Thank you so much, everyone, and hope this is a wonderful webinar. Thank you. I will start now. So, bom dia a todos. Bem-vindos ao webinar da Câmara de Comércio e Indústria Portuguesa sobre o mercado iraniano. O meu nome é Pedro Magalhães e queria dar aqui as boas-vindas ao nosso extensivo painel de oradores, muitos deles iranianos, que estão connosco em direto deste mercado, e espero que seja muito útil para todos ouvirmos as palavras de todos estes intervenientes sobre este mercado tão atrativo do Médio Oriente. Thank you so much, everyone, to being here with us today to this webinar about the Iranian market. I appreciate all of you for your time and availability to be here with us and explain in this hour the situation of Iran and how to do business in Iran. I'm just going to say some words in Portuguese to all the participants that are joining us now live. We will wait more 2 or 3 minutes and then we will start the webinar. So today here with us we have Mr. Hassameddin Al-Haj, which is representing the Tehran Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We also have Mr. Masoud Jamali, which is member from the Iran National Plastic and Polymer Industrial Association, an enterprise with a high relevance in Iran. Mr. Hali Katibi Tabar, which is a member of the Aquatics Production and Trade Union of Iran. And Mr. Hashemi, also Secretary General of the Iran Dried Fruit Exporters Association. Also joining us are Mr. Afshin Sadeghi, which is CEO of Sanitera, a Portuguese company which has origins in Iran, and also Mr. Nader Agigi, which is president of the Portugal-Iran Business Council here in Portugal. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here with us. It's a pleasure to organize another event about the Iranian market here at the Portuguese Chamber. Iran has always been, since 2016, since the economic openings after the sanctions, Iran has been one of the countries that the Portuguese Chamber has been quite active in organizing trade missions and webinars to this country. We've organized the first trade mission with the support of Nader Agigi and also the Tehran Chamber of Commerce in 2016. This was the first trade mission that we organized at this country, a successful one. And then after these ones, we've organized 4 more trade missions until 2018, which have brought a lot of business exporters and investors from Portugal to the Iranian market. So for us, it's quite obvious to continue this flow of information and attractiveness of this market, which we hope in the near future will continue to be a strong hub for Portuguese exporters and interested in this country. I will change now to Portuguese, now that we have more participants joining us. Bom dia novamente a todos, o meu nome é Pedro Magalhães, sou diretor de Comércio Internacional da Câmara de Comércio e Indústria Portuguesa e serei o vosso anfitrião deste webinar sobre o mercado iraniano. Peço-vos compreendem que vou falar agora em português, mas depois mudaremos para inglês, já que todos os nossos oradores, muitos deles são iranianos e vão falar em inglês para que todos possamos entender aquilo que estamos a ouvir neste seminário. Queria agradecer a todos os participantes, em particular aos nossos oradores, quem agradece esta disponibilidade que demonstraram em estar aqui connosco. Como estava a referir, o mercado iraniano tem sido uma aposta da Câmara de Comércio desde 2016 em levar empresários a este país, que é o segundo país mais populoso da região do Médio Oriente, quando os pesos dos consumidores tornam numa importância muito grande no Médio Oriente. O país encontra-se na 7ª posição do ranking mundial de produtores de petróleo e é o 4º maior detentor de reservas provadas de petróleo, estando também no 2º lugar no que diz respeito a reservas naturais de gás. Tem cerca de 90 milhões de pessoas, é um mercado interno muito robusto e tem havido uma grande aposta na reestruturação da economia rumo à diversificação para tornar menos dependente do petróleo e também à melhoria do ambiente de negócios, de modo a continuar a crescer o seu PIB. A par desta tradição de exportação que o Irão tem de combustíveis minerais, metais comuns, produtos agrícolas, veículos e outros materiais de transporte, Também os setores mais promissores para a futura exploração das empresas portuguesas apontam muito para o setor das pastas celulósicas, papel, plásticos, borracha, indústria farmacêutica e alimentar também, entre outros. O Irão e Portugal mantêm uma história de 500 anos de relações diplomáticas e culturais consideradas fundamentais para a relação existente nos dias de hoje. Como mencionei, desde 2016 a 2018 organizámos já 5 missões empresariais ao Irão, com mais de 30 empresas, onde cada uma das empresas puderam ter uma agenda individual de negócios e muitas delas conseguiram fazer negócios durante este período de deslocação ao mercado. A partir de 2018 deixámos de fazer, entrou em curso um conjunto de sanções que nos têm impedido de voltar a este mercado. Para melhor esclarecer estas empresas no que diz respeito a este mercado iraniano, convidámos uma série de oradores para vir dar o seu testemunho neste webinar e esperamos que seja muito interessante para quem nos está a ouvir neste momento. Queria deixar também um agradecimento à Caixa Geral de Depósitos por continuar a apoiar todas as ações de comércio internacional da Câmara de Comércio e Indústria Portuguesa, e esta é mais uma que está ao nosso lado. Antes de começarmos e de passar a palavra para os nossos oradores, gostava só de recordar algumas regras base de funcionamento do evento. As sessões vão ser gravadas, o vídeo e os microfones de todos os participantes vão estar desligados e todas as questões ou comentários que tenham poderão ser colocados na rúbrica Q&A, que podem ver na barra inferior do Zoom, para que depois possamos colocá-las aos nossos convidados. Podem colocá-las em qualquer altura, tornando isto dinâmico. Se houver alguma pergunta que acham que faça sentido fazer, nós colocaremos e interromperemos a sessão sem qualquer problema. Vou passar agora então para inglês e espero que desfrutem deste webinar. Thank you so much again for being here with us, and I would now pass the word to Mr. Halaj, thanking you again for being here with us and for being a partner of the Portuguese Chamber alongside this past 5 years that we are now in this partnership. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed this webinar. Mr. Halaj, the floor is yours. Thank you, Pedro.
Hello, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, it's a great pleasure. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Pedro. Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests. It's a pleasure for me to speak at this webinar on behalf of the private sector community of Iran. Tehran Chamber of Commerce is considered as the largest business community of Iran and the private sector think tank for economic activities. And I can see the mutual benefits of bilateral business and trade cooperation between our both sides. Considering the huge potentials of trade and economic opportunities in Iran, like huge natural resources, skilled and educated workers, cheap energy prices in a region with almost 300 million population, and changes in recent political situations, hopes amongst the economic players and business leaders have been increased to perceive of coming years and as the best and most fruitful era for promotion of Iran's international business transaction and its economic integration globally. Although resumption of oil purchase from Iran has been important in this regard, the interesting point is that exchange of 9 oil products has been significantly important in Iran-Europe transactions. Looking ahead, with the removal of barriers, private sector of Iran and Portugal can play a constructive role in strengthening the bilateral economic ties as the business transactions between the two countries are as a low level and their potential. We must know our utmost effort and take initiatives to bring our business relation back on track. Combined efforts are needed to achieve the satisfactory level in trade for both countries in coming years. In view of this, we can do more to enhance our trade relations toward narrowing the sizable gap that is present and explore more economic which will be beneficial for our countries and business people. Today, we have some representatives from our affiliated associations to talk about our capacities and opportunity to resume business with Iran, especially in fields of nuts and dried fruit, aquatics, and polymer products. Hopefully, Iran and Portugal trade development will reach to a level that both countries collaborate in joint ventures and promoting partnership for the purpose of seizing the opportunities arising from markets of the two countries. For years now, considering the fruitful relations between Tehran and Portugal chambers of commerce in recent years and its productive outcome, we expect to achieve even more practical results. Tehran chambers, with more than 23,000 members from all fields of activities and a share of almost 40% of Iran GDP, with the cooperation of her counterparts in Portugal,
Yes. Hello, Mr. Halaj. I think we are having some connection problems. We lost the connection here with Halaj. Hello. Well, we seem to have lost the connection here with Halaj from the Tehran Chamber of Commerce.
Well, he's coming, so his connection was failed, and he's just now here.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry, everyone. Pedro, my connection was failed. So
No,
can you
it's
hear
okay.
me now?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you.
Okay. In conclusion, Tehran Chamber of Commerce with more than 23,000 active members from all fields of activities and a share of almost 40% of Iran GDP, with cooperation of her counterparts in Portugal, in Portugal Chamber of Commerce can play an important role in promoting trade and business relations and help to remove the existing barrier between two sides. I'm optimistic that holding such gathering could assist expansion of relation, and to this end, Tehran Chamber stands fully ready to support in all means. Once more, I would like to thank you, and also I would like to thank Mr. Daman Pakjami, the Honorable Ambassador of Iran in Lisbon, for his cooperation and efforts, and I would like to extend my gratitude to the organizer of this event and wish you all success and blessing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Halaj, for your words. I hope our relation continues to be as strong as it was in the last years, and that the business relations between Portugal and Iran keep on thriving in the next years. Well, now I would pass the word to Mr. Jamali, who is speaking is going to do a presentation about the cooperation in the field of polymer products. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes.
Hear me?
Yes, please.
Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure to join this conference and this webinar today. Let me introduce myself. I am Masoud Jamali, member of Board of Iran National Polymer Industry Association. I'm going to introduce market capacity between Portugal and Iran in the polymer products. Let me share my screen. Oh, my screen share was disabled from admin. Could you please? Yes, thank you. Okay. The system called the Harmony System Code, it's just code that contain custom data and statistic variant trade activities and trade or non-trade tariff measurement of international trade regulation. All commodities has been classified in 21 section and 8 chapters, which polymer goods are part of their 9th chapter. We are speaking about this chapter in this presentation. You see in the picture the trade balance of Portugal in chapter 39. It's about $4 billion import and $3.2 million export. The trade balance is negative, but the market is about $7 billion. Portugal import $4 billion from the world, and usually the European countries like Spain, Germany, France, Italy, and Netherlands, Belgium have the top of the list. As you see in Iran, it's not seems good. $138,000 in 2019, you import polymer products from Iran. As you see, between 2016 to 2018, we have increased in the rank, but unfortunately, after it has a sharp decrease in 2019. Just now, we are in the 69 position in your rank from import in 39 chapter. Also, Iran has $1 billion import from the world in chapter 39, and the rank of Portugal in this import is 115th, and it can be improved. The bilateral trade between Iran and Portugal, as you see, the most product is article of plastic and article, plate, sheet, film, foils, article for the conveyance, packaging of goods, building ware of plastic, and polymer of ethylene in primary form. Export Iran to Portugal is also aimed at polymer of ethylene in primary form, article of plastic and articles, article of conveyance or packaging of goods, polymer of polyethylene and polypropylene of other olefin in primary forms. And as you see in 2019, all of decreased. Iran have a strategic location. Iran has a unique and valuable geographic location connecting CIS countries to open sea in Indian Ocean, connecting East Asia to MENA and to the Europe. Overall, we have a good potential to develop and improve our share in this 15 billion market. It seems possible to achieve this aim. For Iran location, we export more than $3 billion raw materials and $2 billion polymer products under the sanction restricted. It's a big potential to improve it. We have a good potential for re-export all products, all Portugal products, because of Iran geographical location. We have some advantages for work and cooperate with Iranian companies. Our 8,000 companies and 10,000 small enterprises are producing plastic part in Iran, and about 800,000 employees are engaged in downstream polymer industry directly and indirectly. 3.2 million tons of polymer in primary produced by local petrochemical companies, over 1 million tons of recycled polymer, and some imported polymers, totally about 4.5 million tons per year, are consumed in downstream industries in Iran. It means the opportunity for joint venture or outsourcing of the Portugal polymer products is available in Iran. We achieved to cheap energy and resources, electronic power, water, gas, also labor force and raw materials. Because of this, a wide range of plastic parts are produced by Iran polymer downstream industries. The kind of finished products such as household, home appliance, kitchenware, tableware, stationery, toys, textile, carpet, woven and non-woven bags, disposable product made from conventional polymer and bio-based material, construction products, plastic furniture, medicals, auto parts, especially for French cars, Peugeot and Renault, and the number of Chinese cars, including outer part and inner part of the cars, is made in Iran for these companies. The semi-finished products such as films, sheets, pipes, and packagings, which all well exported from Iran to the world. And the kind C, compound and additive, a wide range of compound based of many kind of polymer, bio-based material, also master batch are produced and export, and some of them to Europe. These products are produced by variety of processing method in Iran. Thank you for your attention and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jamali. I will now pass the word to Mr. Tabar, which is going to present us the shrimp farming in Iran and the potential export to Portugal.
Good morning to everybody. I have to share my screen first, and
yes,
I need you to make me able to do this.
Yes, I'm just trying to do that. Just a second.
Thank you very much.
I will ask Mr. I'm sorry, but I'm not being able to. Can I ask Mr. Jamali to quit the webinar and then come back again? Sorry, because I'm seem to having some problem here with the co-hosts and hosts.
Yes.
Please, then. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Bom dia, señores and señoras. This is Ali from Iran. I'm Doctor of Veterinary Medicine from the Aquatic Production and Trading Union of Iran. I just want to say a very, very brief review on the Iranian shrimp farming and products. And I just want to do all these, let's say, artistic things very quickly because they are just telling me that we are run out of time. Okay, Iranian farming industry started from about more than 20 years ago, and the Iranian Fishery Organization has situated, or let's say, made the site selections of all of these farms first in the northern shores of the Persian Gulf in south of Iran, and then they moved everything to the Oman Gulf, and also they progressed with the Caspian Sea. All these farms are situated by the approval of the Iranian Ministry of Environment, etc. So in terms of the environmental cares, they are very much well situated. They are by far away from the cities and from the villages, from industrial areas. They have access to the very fresh, clean water, and the production. The only disease that happens in all our farms was the white spot disease, which is a viral disease. I go for the next of it. We have lots of EU approved processing plants. You can check with the official journal of the European Community. You can see all the list of the processing plants. All of them are EU approved. They are very much close to the farms, but both of them are away from the cities. And we will receive the products inside the processing plants very freshly. And the production of the country before having this white spot disease was about more than 45,000 new metric tons, but nowadays it comes to 20,000 last year. And we hope that for the coming season would be again much higher. Regarding the farming features, I can say that we have a very clean environmental and seawater. There is no industrial pollution in waters like what you can see inside the other countries like India or Bangladesh or the others that have lots of antibiotics or pesticides or herbicides, etc. There is no any other farms around us, so there is no cross-contamination of any chemicals. And also the production method that we have is semi-intensive farming. So it means that we have a very close to bioproduction. And let's say that we have only, mostly in most of the regions, we have only one cycle of farming per year. So this means that the chance of having diseases is very low. And because of this, we have no antibiotics and no chemicals in our shrimps. You can see that there is any record of any rejection of the Iranian farm shrimp from European Community during the past 22 years. So it means that we have one of the cleanest and the very good quality of the shrimp in the world. The type of product that we have is including head-on, shell-on, and headless, PTO, PDTO, PD breaded, and whatever packing that you may like to have in terms of bulk packing or retail packing. All colors categories, we have it here, like A1 to A4, as you can see. I've borrowed a table there on top of it from my Ecuadorian friends, that it shows that all the colors from A1 to A4, what does it mean exactly? And we have also the other packings that, all type of the, let's say, freezing methods. We have IQF, tunnels, etc. Also, the very good things that we have is that the Iranian shrimp all over the country is 100% free from any antibiotic and any other hazardous chemicals and pesticides. You can have these references from your, let's say, Deja Sante in Europe for checking everything. And also, what can I say is that recently we have applied most of the farms and factories for the ASC and MSC standards, and they are taking place for the pre-auditing procedures. And very soon we will have all of those standards as well in the country. And at the end, I have to say, obrigado. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Mr. Katibi. And now I would pass the floor to Mr. Hashemi, which is going to explain us a little bit of the Union and potential exporting products to Portugal about dried fruit.
Yes. Hello, everybody. This is Zain Al-Abidin Hashemi, Secretary General of Iran Dried Fruit Exporters Association. It's possible, please, I want to explain with you some information about, but I cannot see my information.
Let's share screen.
Here, share.
Yeah.
I have some problem, sorry.
No worries.
Oh, sorry. خب مالی ما فکر کنم توی اینجا بینم هاشمی نشون ندادم به من. نه توی اینجا نه، من کامپیوتر مال خوده. خب اگه نیست که نه ساری به اطلاعات ما رو فرستادیم منتها
سمت درست بغل اون که ریز هندز گذاشته پایین، دست جای انگشت دست زرد گذاشته تو صفحه، یه جا Q&A گذاشته، دو تا سوال توش مطرحه، دیدینش؟ به ایرانه.
Assim que terminar aqui esta próxima apresentação, eu vou começar a colocar as questões que nos estão a fazer via Q&A, tá bem? Obrigado. Okay, now we see the presentation. Thank you. We just need to connect your sound, please.
Do you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
ولی نشون دادن کدومش باید بزنیم که نشون بده اینجا.
Thank you.
Sorry about this problem. This is Zainul Abidin Hashemi, Secretary General of Iran Derived Food Exporter Association. The first of all, let me introduce my association. The Iranian Derived Exporters Association has officially started its activities in 1970 and now with 1,000 official and unofficial members, plays a major role in Iran's exports. The majority of the members of these unions are the greats of Iran's dried fruits industry. With the aim of the preserving and supporting Iran's dried fruit exporters, this union has tried to increase the quality of exports in accordance with international standards, establish relations with international organizations and institutions, attend international events. To provide service to the dried fruit exporters, Iran has been formed. Last year, the Union celebrated its 50th anniversary with the presence of the elders of Iran's dried fruit industry. These products are the most important as follow commodities in the Union, which are especially reviewed and followed up by the committee: pistachio, raisin, date, and fig. Due to the importance of dried fruit exports, a weekly meeting of the Union Board are held and export process and problems are reviewed. Dried exports are one of the main advantages of Iran, which has the highest exporters and about around $2.5 billion of Iranian dried fruits exports to more than 100 countries, the most important of which are pistachios, raisins, fig, dates, almonds, dried fruits, and which have the potential to increase export up to 2 times. The amount of Iran exports to Portugal last year was about $500,000. This increase is very small and can increase further. And you can see there's some information about the Iran's trade statistics with Portugal in 2020 in the last year. And I think it's very small amount from Iran to in your country. And according to our information about your information, Portugal imports not from the world around $7 million and around 2,000 weight in ton in 2019. The onion of the Iranian nut exports is ready to increase it as the largest and oldest organization of the private sector of the Iranian nut in cooperation with the Portugal Chamber of Commerce. And you can see some information about your country and your import from your country, such as the dates, I think around $3 million, about the figs, around $4 million, dried fruit mix, around $300,000 in the 2 years ago you imported to your country. And this is our information, our association information, and you can connect with our association with the future.
Thank you so much.
Yep. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you all for your presentations. We have been having here some questions related with the situation in Iran. Now, before I pass to the next panel of speakers, Mr. Sadeghi and Mr. Hagigi, I would like to ask some questions to Mr. Halaj as possible. People are wondering here in Portugal, how is the situation now in Iran? Because they were exporting their products and importing from Iran in 2017, for instance, and now with the sanctions, we've been limited in that export and import. How can we restart the business with Iran, and how is the perspective?
آقای حلاج من از شما توضیح داد یا من توضیح بدم شما؟
Does Mr. Hagigi would like to answer, or shall I answer?
Mr. Halaj, you can answer, and then we will speak with Mr. Hagigi and Afshin Sadeghi in the next panel.
Actually, you may know that Iran is under the U.S. sanctions, and the humanitarian products can be exchange between the Iranian business people and also their counterparts all over the world, but there is no hesitation from the Iranian business activists to do in business in other sectors and other fields of activities. I would recommend if there is any hesitation from the Portuguese business people, they can do business through the third countries, and also for the money transactions and financial transactions, they can do it from the third countries like Turkey or UAE. There is channels to work. They can contact us for consultation, and we can provide them with more information in a separate time for full address.
Okay, so what you're saying is that we can continue to do business with Iran through third parties such as Dubai or Turkey or other countries. So any questions related with the continuing of exports and imports to Iran, we can pass your contacts and you clarify any doubts. In the end of this webinar, we will, as I mentioned previously, we will send the presentations to all participants and also the contacts of our speakers, so you can feel free to contact them directly. Thank you. So going forward to our next panel, I would please ask Mr. Sadeghi and Mr. Hagigi to join us, and now the objective is to speak a little bit about your experience between Portugal and Iran. Well, Nader, it's an old friend of the Chamber, and we organized the first trade mission to Iran in 2016. Nader is living in Portugal for 40 years, more or less. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. and he's a highly experienced business between Iran and Portugal. Most recently, Mr. Sadeghi has joined our country 4 years ago. He decided to come to Portugal and open a business here. And he's been quite active in promoting the relationships between Portugal and Iran as well. So welcome, both of you. I would start with Mr. Hagigi. If you can say some words about the current situation of Iran, of your experience, and how do you see the future here of the relations between Portugal and Iran?
Well, if it's my turn to talk, I have a presentation. I want to share it also with you. First of all, good morning to everybody, or good afternoon. I think that in Iran it's already afternoon. And it's a great pleasure for me that I can contribute to provide support to the Chamber of Commerce of Portugal. As Mr. Magalhães mentioned, we have been traveling for the first time together some 5 or 6 years ago. And from then onwards, they made other traveling and other missions.
Mr. Hagigi, you can share your screen now if you want.
Now I will try to share, yes. Can you see my presentation? Now I lost my own image. Do you hear me?
We can hear you. You have to share your screen in the lower panel, which says compartilhar tela or share screen. Exactly.
Yeah. Now I will put my presentation.
Yeah.
Let me put it in big screen. Okay. This is my presentation. My name is Nader Hagigi. I've been appointed in 2009 as the president of the Portugal-Iran Business Council, as is indicated here. And the mission of this Portugal-Iran Business Council can be summarized as the following: to provide to the companies, in particular Portuguese companies, but also Iranian, relevant information regarding the Iranian market, provide them some services, and mainly establishing contact between Portuguese companies and their Iranian counterparts. I think that is the main goal of all these activities that we are doing. The opportunity that I see, in my views, and you can correct it if meanwhile it has evolved, is that from Iran to Portugal, we have a lot of agricultural products, processed food, it was just mentioned, oil and gas, chemicals and petrochemicals, and construction materials. Of course, it's not exclusive to these items. And as we saw, there are many other items that we can export from Iran to Portugal. What we can provide from Portugal to Iran, I think that is industrial machinery, energy services. For your information, in terms of renewable energies, Portugal is at the forefront of the European market. If I'm not mistaken, more than 70% of the production of electricity of Portugal is done currently through renewable energies, wind, solar, wave, etc. financial services, IT-related industry, environmental goods and services. We have had a lot of experience in this area that we can share with the Iranian market, and engineering services, and the last but not the least, health-related products like the pharmaceuticals, and tourism services. We have been, before this pandemic, one of the most attractive places of the whole European Union. And from the whole Europe, people, either they will come to buy a house or to just simply have a sightseeing. Some investment opportunities, especially in Iran, so far as my contacts are concerned, construction of trade centers or 5-star hotels and department stores. I mentioned last time I visited the north of Iran with those beautiful shores. We don't have really sufficiently 5-star hotels. Shipbuilding and bunkering facilities, construction projects in new urban areas, irrigation network projects, waste treatment, for which Portugal has huge experience. There are many companies, Portuguese companies, active in this area. And renewable energies, as I mentioned previously, IT-enabled industry, specialized trading centers, and R&D institutes. I thank you very much. I don't want to intervene too much. Then during the questions and answers, I will be at your disposition to answer any question that might arise that I can.
Thank you, Nader. Thank you so much. So I'll pass the word to Mr. Afshin. Afshin, you're here in Portugal for 4 years. How did you decide to come to Portugal and open a business here?
Okay, first let's all give me time to introduce myself and my company. I'm talking on behalf of the Sanitera International Group, and my name is not Afshin. My name is Opportunity. That's why I am here in Portugal. I don't want to give you the lecture. I'm not going to teach you anything today, but I'm gonna give you the real numbers and something that you can get advantage that I'm telling you. Because in Iran, we talk in theory too much, but in practically we do nothing because of the sanction problem and difficulties and the isolation since 40 years ago. So as an Iranian, we are professor of consumption, which is good for Portuguese producer, but vice versa. The reason that you ask me why I am there, because I know the Portuguese people, they are the low cost madness. And for me, Portugal is the express train in front of the earthquake. When I compare the cost of production with Italy and Spain, it's a great opportunity for me and my partner to be in Portugal. You know, nowadays, doing the trade between Portugal and Iran is not possible. I am not going to explain about theoretically, but the government is reforming in the next 3-4 months, and Iran is not opening for business at the moment. Why? Because I am in the real and practical manner. There is no any bank transfer between Portugal or Iran, even from Portugal to Iran. We don't have the SWIFT. How the people, they want to transfer the money when they don't have the financial solution. But I know if you don't want to be left behind the two-day environment and have a good income, I learned you should know that you should make money even when you are sleeping. You should know how to make money even when you are sleeping. How? You know, my partner and me, we create a marketplace for Portugal, for Portuguese and Iranian enterprise, online shopping. I'm not talking about the macro oil or gas or machinery industry business. I'm talking about retail and the wholesale business. Because of the currency depreciation at the moment, among the European producers, the Portugal is going to be one of the best places for Iran to do the export for the textile, for small machinery, and so on. Okay, you asked me why I am here and how I found myself to be in the Portugal. Because you know, Portugal is for me and my partner is one of the most peaceful countries, and with a high quality of life for residents, and also is has got one of the youngest workforce people, well educated, well trained. The cost of production for us is less compared to Italy. Now we are doing some cooperation with 5 big factories in Portugal, and we are going to reach good numbers. But in reality, if I want to tell you the truth, it's not possible to do any business at the moment because we brought some real investor to do, because nowadays also we are constructing in Portugal, in north of Portugal, and we brought many the investor that they would like to invest on the building, on the apartment. But the problem that we face with the 3 strong legal people, the lawyer, we are not able to open the bank account. Okay, NIF, opening the NIF or these kind of basic things is easy. But when it comes to the opening the bank account, people wants to come here even for not the gold. I'm not talking about the golden visa. I'm talking about the macro level construction, the 30, 40 apartment, hotel project, for example. But at the moment, hotel project is a stop. But it's not easy for us to open the bank account for our investor. How we should do the business with Iran and how the Iranians should do the business in Portugal. I'm talking about the evidence. I got the letter from the BPI. Officially, they say that because your client is Iranian, we are not able to open the bank account for the Iranian. We had all the proof of the payment, proof of the investing, everything we had. Even we did the apostle from embassy. That's why nowadays we are facing lots difficulties from the beginning. First, this group, this webinar, if they want to get the answer, they shouldn't read these kind of numbers or lecture. People just by simple Google it, they can find these things. We shouldn't waste our time. We should talk about the real numbers. You know, we should talk how we can find a solution for investor, for Iranian, how they can transfer the clean money, crystal clear money from Iran to Portugal to do something, you know? Yes. And also vice versa for Portuguese, I have got the solution. That's why my partner and me, we create a marketplace, online shopping. For Iranian, nowadays, they are in #1 in kind of the handmade product. The cost of production with this currency, euro, the cost of production is Iran is less expensive than India and China. There is a huge opportunity for Iranian to send and export the goods from Iran to Portugal. We should find 2 things. First, find the logistic, solve the problem with the logistic manner, and then find the solution for financial manner, how we should transfer the money between these 2 countries. That's it. If you are able to solve this problem, then it's a springtime for the business.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Afshin. I think it's most crucial that we hear your testimony as a business entrepreneur that is operating between 2 countries and feeling the difficulty that is the financial part and also the logistical part, as you mentioned. I think this is crucial to our exporters as well, because everyone knows about the numbers and the opportunities that countries have. But if we don't solve the practical issues, I think business is not done. And I think it's quite important that you mentioned that because it belongs to both governments to be able to overpass that situation and get the flow running. But I'm not sure how we can provide insights in this webinar about that, because it's political situation that is currently being, you know.
But Pedro, honestly speaking, I don't want to be optimistic, but in a practical manner, because I am inside the market and I'm doing the daily business. That's why we face much difficulties nowadays. I don't want to talk about the advantage of the investing in Portugal. If I want to tell you disadvantage of the Portugal, I can tell you two things. The lack of the bigger vision, for example, because there is no defined vision even for the future of the Portugal, where the investment is concerned. The politically also we are facing some problem. That's you and the people from Portugal, they should find a solution, because when you are inviting the investor to the country, you have to prepare the path for them. You have to define the logistic, at least. You have to define the mean for money transferring, because honestly speaking, the Portugal nowadays is missing a lot of Iranian investor. Just have a look at the numbers, how many people already they invested in the real estate in Turkey last December. Just look at the numbers. Look at the amount of money that the people they transfer. Why not Portugal? Why not people come to Portugal and invest in the property in Portugal? This is something small, but in the industrial view, in the production view, that's why we are so happy to be in Portugal, but we are not able even work with our local market. You know, before 4 or 5 years ago, we were able to transfer container every month, but now even one container a month is not easy. Even if we want to send the one sample, is not easy. It's not easy to send or dispatch something from Portugal direct to Iran. That's why we are not talking about nuclear or weapon or about some military equipment. We are talking about consumption goods, fast-moving product, some textiles, some bathroom accessories. I'm talking about the domestic products.
Yeah, I know, and I understand. Your difficulties is some of the difficulties that some Portuguese companies also contact us and say that it's very difficult to these days export to Iran. I would ask Mr. Halaj to make some comments about this discussion that we're having.
Actually, I thought that we are going to talk about business here, not politics, but some comments received by Mr. Sadeghi regarding some political issues. I guess if this meeting should be conducted in some economic conditions.
None of my work is related to politics. All is about the real practice business. Because I'm the real businessman, I am doing the daily business, and I'm facing so much difficulties. You know?
Sorry, I was listening to you and I asked for time. If you would like to talk, please ask for time. I think this is something that you have to ask the moderator, not to stop me and interrupt me between my words. So, Mr. Magalian, I think that everybody knows that the country is suffering from the sanctions, and this is no need to emphasize on it. So, but we are here as chamber to pave the way for business people in order to help them to find a way to work. As I mentioned, we can do the money transfer from the third countries or any other ideas that we have. We will provide it for the business people. So I'm not going to talk about the ideas of Mr. Sadeghi. I'm here to answer regarding any question that is arising from the business people, as what I'm doing in the question and answer session. Thank you.
Halaj, I understand your point of view, but I think Mr. Sadeghi was speaking about business and not about politics. Because if we want to promote Iran as a business country for Portuguese relationships between both of our countries, we need to understand also the practical issues. And if this is a company that is facing some difficulties, I think we should try to understand how we can do the approach between both countries with less difficulties. I think not only Mr. Sadeghi is one of the companies that we invited here, but we have some testimonies about some other companies that are facing and struggling to exports in Iran. We had some comments previously from participants saying that they were able to export in 2017, and now they're not being able to it. So this is how we invite you to try to understand how we can do a solution for it. It's not a political issue for sure. We are not talking here about politics. So I think one of the problems that not only Mr. Sadeghi, but also other Portuguese companies are facing is that we cannot export and we cannot do direct money transfers to Iran, from both sides. I think this is a problem. You mentioned that we can do it for third parties, but it's some companies have mentioned to me that it's not an easy process. Even doing by Dubai or by Turkey, it's not an easy process. If there is another solution that you can say to us, it could be very useful. Also on the logistical part, it could be very useful as well. Well, Nader has raised their hand. I don't know if you want to add something, Nader. Just please open your microphone. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, regarding the point that Mr. Sadeghi raised, there is one part of the problem that I wanted to intervene. That is, if I understood correctly, even as an investor in Portugal, you were telling that there are some difficulties to open a bank account, for example, or this kind of thing.
Yes.
I think that for these kind of issues, I can help you, because we should request the help of an entity which is called ICEP, which is responsible for foreign investments. And on the other side, I know some lawyers that if they can obtain bank account for the people who just buy an apartment or something for golden visa, it's unbelievable for my head to believe that somebody who is going to invest in Portugal for more than 1 million euros in any area, that we cannot open a bank account. I think that in that respect, I can help you. For the other aspect that you said, as Mr. Halaj also mentioned, it becomes a little bit political. Believe it or not, I recognize we have the same problems. We cannot transfer money directly from an Iranian bank to Portuguese or vice versa. We cannot, we are under sanctions. It's not hidden to anybody. And either we find a third party in Turkey and Emirates or somewhere else to transfer the money or this kind of thing, or normal business as per today. If Mr. Biden changes the things, I don't know. I'm not politician, but from the Portuguese part, I might help you if you need.
Thank you, Nader. Well, Halaj, you want to comment, please?
Yes, thank you. I just want to mention, this is the situation that is forced to the country. This is not what we want. So everybody who would like to work with Iran, they can understand that this is the situation that is forced to Iran. So we are here to support the business people of foreign countries, to let them know how they can work with Iran in the current situation. So as Nader just mentioned, they can have the money transaction from the third countries like Oman, Turkey, or whatever. So if the problem is problem of marketing, we can help the business people of Portuguese communities to find their counterparts in Iran. If the problem is the money transfer, we can provide them more consultation. So please let us know what are the main challenges that the Portuguese companies have in order to work with Iran. Then we can provide them with the exact and precise information and consultation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, we are now past a little bit of our time. We have here some questions related with one company that asks us that if the Portuguese pine wood for construction could be interesting for the Iranian market. I don't know if any of the speakers can provide with some answer to this one. If not, we will send the question through Mr. Halaj, and then we will respond through email. Well, I have to thank all of you for being here today. I think the picture is that Iran is open for business despite the sanctions, obviously, that we have faced difficulties on doing business with Iran. Also, we face difficulties in Portugal here as regards to investors that come here. I think the bank account and also the question of being able to invest here in Portugal has been not only, as Mr. Sadeghi mentioned, but I've been also in contact with companies that struggle to people that want to come here and invest. So it's not an easy process. So doing business is not easy. I think we need to overcome all the obstacles. Unfortunately, we all hope that Iran could be more open with no sanctions. I hope in the future with this new American administration and also with the openness of the Iranian government that the situation changes, and then we go back to the period of 2016-17 where business was more fluent. So I thank you, all of you, for your contribution, for your contributes to this session, and we will provide everyone with the presentations. Thank you again, and hope to see you soon, and have a good week for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.